All right, so we're back for another deep dive.
Back into the zone.
Yeah, you got it. This time we're taking a look at Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, a long-awaited sequel.
Definitely.
We've got two main sources for this deep dive.
Okay.
A review in progress from IGN, and then also a news piece about a collaboration with the Division 2, which,
Oh, interesting.
yeah, we'll get to that later. But first, I think we really got to kind of set the stage,
Okay.
This game has had a really,
A storied development, huh?
yeah, very interesting development journey. I mean, it's trying to capture the magic,
Of the originals.
yeah, of the original Stalker games, but
Yeah.
also, push things forward.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen, it sounds like there's going to be some surprises along the way.
For sure.
One thing I've heard about is a massive day one patch, which,
Oh, holy.
yeah, so that kind of tells you a little
It's a
bit,
tone, maybe.
yeah, maybe a little bit about the state of things.
Yeah.
But also, the reviewers have been talking about some of the glitches, and
Oh, really?
some of them are actually pretty funny.
Okay.
All right, so we'll see if we can dig into some of that as well.
Okay, so what's grabbing people first off?
I think the setting is what immediately captures your attention, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Chernobyl exclusion zone.
It's an iconic location.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not your typical post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Right.
It's real.
Yeah.
There's that weight of history there.
That history, yeah.
Yeah, and the tragedy. And the game really leans into that. The atmosphere.
You can feel it.
Yeah, they've done a fantastic job, at least from what I've seen in the screenshots and the videos, of creating this chilling and believable atmosphere.
The IGN reviewer, they were really talking that up, weren't they?
They were.
Yeah.
Yeah, the IGN review mentions it over and over again. And it's not just a visual thing either,
It's in the gameplay.
It's the dynamic weather,
Yeah.
the day-night cycle, that constant threat of radiation and anomalies.
Right.
It just all adds up to make you feel like you're constantly on edge.
Makes sense. I mean, it's Chernobyl, right?
Exactly. It's what you want from a game set in this kind of location.
Yeah.
You don't want to feel comfortable.
Definitely not. You want to feel that tension, that danger.
And that's where the survival elements come into play.
Yeah, they're going all in on that.
Big time.
Yeah.
Stalker 2 is really hardcore in terms of survival. You've got to manage your hunger, your
Mhm.
thirst, radiation levels, treat bleeding wounds.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to juggle. And it forces you to think strategically
To plan ahead.
about every move you make.
Yeah.
Every resource counts. And I think that's what makes the survival in this game feel earned,
It's not just handed to you.
Right. You have to work for it.
It's different from a lot of the modern games we see.
Absolutely. Yeah, most modern games kind of streamline things, make it a little bit easier.
Right, more accessible.
Yeah, more accessible, but this is,
This is old school.
yeah, it's a throwback in a lot of ways.
And the reviewer seems to like that.
They do. Yeah, they actually praise that aspect of the game.
Hmm.
The IGN reviewer specifically talks about this friction that it creates, which,
Friction.
yeah, they mean that in a good way, though.
Okay.
It's that challenge.
A resistance.
Yeah, that makes you really invested in the moment-to-moment gameplay.
I can see that.
There's one example they give,
Okay.
having to choose which items to keep in your inventory. Because,
Limited space.
yeah, you've got limited inventory space.
Makes sense.
And if you're lugging around too much stuff,
You're slow.
you're slow, yeah. You're an easier target.
Right.
So it's all these little things that add up to create this really tense, immersive experience.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've read, it sounds like the story also takes its time to unfold.
Yeah. So no big exposition dumps then.
Not really.
Mm-hmm.
The IGN review mentions that it starts off with a kind of generic find this guy objective.
Right.
But then as you progress,
It gets deeper.
yeah, it starts to delve into those deeper themes that the series is known for.
Oh, like what?
Like psi emissions, the risks of unchecked scientific research, the clashing factions vying for control of the zone.
All the factions, yeah.
Yeah, it all starts to weave together into something more complex and intriguing.
So it respects your time then. You're not bombarded with information right away.
Exactly. It lets the lore and the world of Stalker kind of unfold naturally as you play,
Ice.
which I appreciate. Not every game needs to hit you over the head with its story right away.
Definitely. Sometimes it's nice to just discover things organically.
Yeah, to piece things together as you go.
And what about the side quests? Are they worth doing?
Well, the reviewer seems to think that some are and some aren't.
Okay.
Some of them offer valuable rewards or expand on the story in interesting ways,
Mm-hmm.
while others, maybe not so much.
So it sounds like they're not just padding things out with a bunch of meaningless side content.
Yeah, which I appreciate. I'd rather have a few really good side quests than a ton of mediocre ones.
Yeah, for sure. Quality over quantity.
Exactly. All right, so we've talked about the setting, the survival mechanics, the story's slow burn approach, which I think are all really promising.
Yeah.
But now we got to address the elephant in the room, which is the technical issues.
Oh, right.
Yeah, this is where things get a little bit tricky.
What's the deal there?
Well, the IG interview is pretty honest about it, and it sounds like even on a high-end PC,
There are problems.
yeah, the game's struggling.
Really? Like what kind of problems?
Frame rate drops,
Oh,
graphical glitches, sound issues, and even,
game-breaking bugs.
yeah, they're reporting game-breaking bugs.
Ooh.
The reviewer specifically mentions having to reload a much earlier save to get past a bug door.
Wow. Okay.
So it definitely sounds like a game that's, ambitious, but maybe a little rough around the edges.
Yeah, a little unpolished.
And it's not just the reviewer either. I've been seeing a lot of comments online from players reporting similar problems.
Huh. That's too bad, because everything else about the game sounds really interesting.
Right. It's a shame because it has so much potential. But those kinds of issues can really ruin the experience.
Especially for people who aren't already super into Stalker.
Exactly.
Hmm.
If you're not already invested in the universe, those technical problems might be enough to turn you away.
So is it just a buggy mess then? No redeeming qualities?
Well, not quite. Amidst all the technical woes,
There's some good.
there's actually some humor to be found.
Oh, okay.
The reviewer mentions a few instances where the game's jankiness actually leads to some funny moments.
Oh, really? Like what?
Like enemies ragdolling into the sky after being shot.
Oh, wow.
So, there's a certain charm to that kind of unintentional humor.
I mean, yeah, sometimes those glitches can be entertaining in their own way.
Right. It's like the game's not taking itself too seriously, even though it's dealing with some pretty heavy themes.
I see. So a little levity in the darkness.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about something completely unexpected.
Okay.
The collaboration with the Division 2.
Oh, right. You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah. So players of the Division 2 can now buy a Stalker apparel bundle for their characters.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird pairing.
It is, yeah.
I mean, the two games are pretty different in terms of
Everything.
gameplay and tone.
The Division 2 is much more action-focused.
Yeah, it's much more streamlined, action-oriented.
Stalker is all about atmosphere and that slow burn tension.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a strange crossover, but maybe...
Maybe I'm trying to reach a new audience.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe they're hoping to introduce Stalker to players who might not be familiar with the series.
Could be a smart move, marketing-wise.
Yeah, tap into a whole new player base.
Okay.
And the apparel itself,
Is it any good?
yeah, from the images I've seen, it looks pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
It's detailed and faithful to the Stalker aesthetic.
Like what kind of outfits?
You can dress up as a member of the 70 faction, the Sunrise faction, or even the Monolith faction.
Wow, so they've got a decent selection then.
Yeah, it seems like they put some effort into it.
So what do you think about this kind of crossover content? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm kind of on the fence about it, I think,
Pros and cons.
well, on the one hand, it's a cool way to introduce players to a new franchise they might enjoy.
Right, like say, it could bring in new fans.
But on the other hand, I've seen some Division 2 players.
They're not happy.
Well, yeah, some of them aren't thrilled about having to pay for cosmetic items.
Especially in a game that's already having technical problems.
Right. I mean, it's like...
Fix the bugs first, then worry about selling us clothes.
Exactly. So I can understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation for sure.
But it's definitely an interesting development, and I'm curious to see how it plays out.
Me too, me too.
But yeah, so even if you're not ready to play Stalker 2 just yet, definitely check out some of the other stuff.
Yeah, dip your toes in.
Read the book, watch the movie.
There are communities online too.
Yeah, immerse yourself in the world, and maybe, who knows, down the line, when you're ready.
You'll feel the pull of the zone.
Yeah.
You'll want to go back to Cornoble and Stalker too.
Exactly. And face those challenges and hopefully reap the rewards.
Right, right. And who knows, maybe by then.
There'll be even more to talk about.
New games, new stories, new insights.
The zone is always changing.
It's a living, breathing thing.
So there's always something new to discover.
Always.
Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning.
And keep diving deep.
We'll see you next time.